Okay, so I'm back on this EA system. Now, I don't want anybody to get the misconception that you can just run this on one stop and one take profit and make money. I took this EA and I turned it to a buy-only system. So each one of these, if you hit F7, it's all in one instrument. Everything goes long. I want to see how it's trading. Now this is like if you hired an employee that was a heroin addict, and it's happened before. People have had to hire people because they just happen to be, that they know what they're doing, kind of. So then you have to, babysit them, and there comes a point in time where you may have to get rid of them because it's spending more time babysitting them than you're doing your own work. Now, it's obvious in the market what's going on, right? The question is, do we have the ability to, this platform's acting up really bad. I can't get the navigator to jump onto the right side. So here's the thing, right? We all know these trades. There's a million trades in here, right? From every style standpoint of order placement. I mean, the robot is going to put a buy stop, and let's just imagine this is a 10 pip grid. Problem is, the robot's also going to try to put in on another time frame a stop here, and what's going to chop out a stop bot is that little wick there. See these little wicks here? That's what's going to crush the dreams of a breakout and run. It's always the bone-crushing reality. Now, even last night, I manually placed, semi-manual, I placed a order to get in at a specific breakout like this, and they chopped me out before it took off, and I was only in 20% of the position. So how to get around this problem is to run, and I was actually able to make money on a trend system by running multiple time frames with the same rule set. But these are conceptual things. This is why companies are successful, right? They give them this rule list, and 10 employees have the same stupid-ass rule list. Now, it may not be the most creative rule list in the world. They could probably do better if you let them be on their own, but like I said, some of these people are on drugs. So you have to kind of get it in a box for them. And this is what you have to do for a robot. A robot's fucking retarded, okay? Expecting the robot to make money is only as good as... Now, if I said I have a platform that goes long, and it was the 6 robots, I got the 1 minute, the 5, 15, the half hour, the 1 hour. I'm sorry, the half hour, 1 hour. I got 2 30s in here, so this should be set to 1 hour, and this should be set to 4 hour, right? So if I want to take advantage of every breakout, now the robot just noticed, oh, I see a setup here. He just put a buy stop on the 4 hours. You have to get an idea what this robot, it's almost like one person that can trade. Say you hired a trader to trade 6 time frames at once simultaneously, and you tell him, listen, pick the best setup out of, I don't care which time frame gives you. There's this guy I met on Skype. He had 20 time frames. I said, well, which one are you trading on? He's like, well, it depends. See, now, if you told the robot, okay, well, this is the one, this is the, and just in the most simple terms, right, this is the whole point, is simplicity. Now, there's the 4, I don't have the daily. But if the robot went long here, you would say, oh, that's the great fucking trade. What? That's an obvious, but look at the stop hunt, or what do you want to call it here? Look at the kickback before we break out. So how'd that work out for you? It's not too good. So you're telling your employee, listen, what I want you to do is put a buy stop here every 4 hours, and they go, okay. And the thing is that as he moves it, he gets a better entry. As time goes on, his entry gets better. Obviously, you can see what you want the employee to do. And here is the trap, the fake breakout, and this is why you're losing money. If you're losing money on a breakout bot or a heroin addict employee, it's because you didn't give them enough free time to go outside and play. Because you can't just have that, and that's what I really wanted, was to try to flip the tickets in this code to force it to place limits based upon so there's a way to force this one to do it too, and that's by going to different time frames. I think that's the only way to really run a breakout system, apparently, because then it's going to monitor those setups that only come on particular time frames. So here it would be, so you got the, got to rearrange these windows. Okay, here we go. So big breakout to the upside. Will the robot take it? Now I could switch these to the 1 minute and force it to get in as another idea. You take this employee off this desk and you throw him on the crackhead's desk. Now he just went from a crackhead, he's a heroin trader, now he's a crackhead trader. So imagine you have these two traders that you built, really. You're building a blind view of, and each of these actually have different settings in here. So that's another thing. I do not have a uniform, and I don't think it should be, because if this is going to be the 1 minute robot, then you're going to go in here like this and say, well, let me see here. Let me put a really tight stop on that, because it's a scalp. And I'm going to get a 3 pip stop with a 3 pip trailing stop, and I'm only looking to make 8 pips. Is this thing going to trade all day? What's going to start here is expert ID. I try to make that the delta. So the delta here would be the most critical thing. It's 3 pips right now. It's basically like a market order. If the broker's going to let me trade inside the spread, I can put that to 1 pip. So I'm going to risk, kind of like out of the gate here, I'm going to risk 4 to 5 pips to make 8 pips, right? Now this is, I'm going to have to rename the delta though. And this is the thing, you got to keep renaming that, so when you see in the comments who's doing what, you need a security camera to make sure the employees aren't molesting each other. So the okay, so now I'm trying to delete all the objects, see who's taking trades. Now this is, I'd say, a scalper. I could make him scalp, I guess, if I put him on the, if I go through the time frames and see if he bites. And this could also be, so this would be my biggest order, 10K here. Now this one I would set to say, imagining, I'm trying to remember what I did on the last one, but we'll put an initial stop loss of, say, 4 pips, and we'll put a trailing of 4. We'll just do everything like, oh, I'm just trying to make, X, and then I would call the ID would be renamed to, say, 3 pip breakout. And so you have to tailor this thing down, and these numbers should stay the same. I'm just going to go 1, force it to trade immediately upon the bar too. And that's another thing, getting the thing to jump in there and do its thing. So that's going to be, did I have that right? It's a lot of work. Let's make it 2 pip delta, and ATR increases 0. So try, keep all these the same. And yeah, it's going to be, what did I say, 10? It's going to be 10 here, and then it's going to be 10. There, that's right. Okay, so this guy is, and that's the hard part. See, now you have to get all these to do what you want them to do. And if you trade it long only, at least you can see, okay, or short only, you can see, okay, this is how it's viewing this breakout. Now, I don't know if there's any way to pause the EAs and say, okay, this thing's set to go long, and now just go ahead, go long. But I guess it's loading a profile. You just have to have a, if you set up, yeah, I guess the profile, that's what you'd have to do. Yeah, you just have to have a profile load. But this would be, say, 10K here, and then this one's going to be trading a smaller size by maybe 2K smaller. So it's going to be a smaller position because it has a wider stop. So you try to make this so that there's a linear amount of abuse that the account's taking. So you make this, let's say you're going to, yeah, the retries, I don't know about that. I don't know if this is what's making it, order tries number. I don't know if that's the setting, how many times it trades, but I wonder about a lot of the settings in here. It's hard enough as it is. So this is going to trade just slightly less. But look, it's making money right now. This is the other thing, is that I could have my finger on the take profit button. So if I think we're going to do a retrace. Let me see if I can force this thing to take a trade so you can see the size come up different. So if you change the size here, so here's pending to get in here, so at least we know who's doing what. And this way I would set this just to 8 off the bat, just so I can see what time frame, keep track of what time frame seems to be involved, because that's really the I think the key of this is you just can't think that you could ever make so we can say 4 pips away here, a one trick pony like that. So I'm a little wider take profit and a wider stop, and then make the delta 4 on this. So you have to tailor this thing down. I don't think there's any other way to do it, honestly. It's bad enough you're using a fucking robot, right? How dumb are you? So, but you know, when you're sleeping, it has not blown up the account, I must say. It may be treading water, it may be not setting the world on fire, but I haven't. Now I can go bi-directional once I think that I can see what it's doing. I'd be like, okay, and of course you're gonna have to pull. You're gonna change these numbers, constantly tuning this. Okay, imagine you're just got the worst conditions, right? There's a blizzard just came by. I mean, the market is like, okay, it goes into an ice age, and then it goes nuts, and then it goes like completely nuts, you know, and then it sits still, then it goes nuts. So when it's sitting still, and you're bracketing it with these, and you got the right delta and all this shit. Now, if I was gonna cue the same, say I've got this one's a scalp on the 1 hour. They're all the same time frame now. Imagine how you just changed the whole landscape of how often this thing might trade, and how tight it will trade compared to, like, if you're looking at the ATRs here, you can see the order placement. Does that make sense on that time frame? Would you take that trade? Now, you know it's trading from the long side. Yeah, I'd take that trade on the, fuck, here on the 1 minute, it looks great, right? So the only way to survive is to have a tight delta here. So the delta is coming, say, down 1 pip at a time. In the shitty trades, it's getting long here in a smaller size. So I'll make this trade at 8, and then just make it descending. You probably just take it down like 2K per, I'm thinking. So this is going to be at 8. We'll just make this 7 for now. Just make it 1 notch at a time, because I can always put more up, and I can have 10 robots running at different increments to compensate for the fact that, you know, it's just no fucking way you're not, you have to take something off the table. I just don't get these people that are like, yeah, I got that girly. I'm like, you got to be kidding me, right? You got to be kidding me. Now this thing will make money, not to mention if you babysat this, you're like, fuck, I just made, now this thing was making a ton of money when the euro fell through the floor. Now it has to be a violent move for this thing to make money. And if you have a volatility alarm, like if you see a big crushing move, you might just be like, you know what, I'm just going to take that. So I can just bail on this right now. Just get the fuck out. That's what a scalper would do. They would just get out. The idea that you're right on some move is just ridiculous. You know, if you're, it's, you know where the market's going to go to. You know what they're going to take it down and make lower lows, right? I mean, this is so, people say this stuff all the time. You just want to kill yourself. It's making lower lows. Okay, so what? So what are you doing about that? If you're not placing orders on the market, then you're not. If you put if the robot's putting buy stops here, and he gets filled on this one, but he gets chopped out because it goes and makes a lower low. Of course, that one trade plan, you can't just say I only take 10 non-directional 10 pip bars, because sometimes these are just, you're getting chopped, right? They're crushing your robot because they just keep on chop, chop, chop. And that's the 1 hour. So what if you have all the, in fact, you can't watch all these time frames. You just say, well, I'll put this fucker on 1 minute. This thing's scalping. The whole thing's set to scalp in one direction, for God's sakes, which is, if you put them all to 1 minute, just let this thing have at it, right? So I can close all open and pendings, or I can just get out of this. But it's going up, right? Big smash here. Market's freaking out finally. So we're gonna just put buy stops, and so that's what I'd be doing, buy stops. Now I guess I could flip this. See, it looks like a trap trade here on the 5 minute. The 1 minute, people make fun of the 1 minute chart, but let's face it, where does it start? It all starts in the 1 minute. Everything starts on the 1 minute. The 5 minutes chasing. So, you know, be realistic. Well, the 1 minute chart. Yeah, well, let the robot watch the fucking 1 minute chart. I think you build a 1 minute robot. Let him just make stupid ass trades. Let him scalp it. You have to set this on scalp mode though. She's about to take profits on that one. That's the scalper. Or it could be these actually, because I didn't set these small enough. So this is the painstaking drudgery of algorithmic trading, no doubt. I mean, this is no excitement, but this keeps you from trying to trade at the market and some other fucking system. But yeah, moving average cross. I mean, there's a trend bot out there. I mean, you have the trend bot running maybe in the background too. I mean, there's because you don't want to add too many things to the brew before you get it. I'm just going to change the size in here because some of these deltas may seem too big, but when the market really breaks out, like I don't know how long these will go pending. Okay, so we got 5 over here, and so we got some pendings. Less risk here though, and I don't think I made the delta match the thing, but I know on this I have to go back and edit all those too now. Then you have to save the whole thing as a profile. Then you got to take it and copy it multiple times so you don't lose it. You have to have a backup of that. Then you take this and you plug it into some laptop somewhere, and you say, okay, that thing's traded from the long side, and you're like, okay, well, what's the trend today? Now, obviously, on a 1 minute chart, a breakout system, you should be able to get it to run on a 1 minute chart. Maybe it doesn't want to run in Asia. Maybe it starts at a very particular time, and if you back test these things, they will make money if they only see a certain slice of the world. And of course the whole overall ATR is going to matter. If you set this to scalp 50 pips with a 30 pip stop on the guppy, it might even make money. Although the problem with those markets is the spread's so wide the delta's against you. I mean, it's a real chase breakout. And how much you're going to chase this thing is the key. How late to the game do you want to be? Yeah, those are like, oh, well, finally it's going up. Okay, I'm a trend continuation. I'm getting and buying a flag, right? But when it was plunging, if you didn't buy on psycho limits for the plunge, then you're in a situation where you're kind of forced to chase the thing, I guess you'd call it, because you're putting in, it's already made the big move. Like, if it moved wave 3 and now you're trying to buy wave 4 pullback, and it keeps drifting back, and you're like, I'm just like, I can't, fuck this shit, it's taking too long in your mind's eye because you really want it to spike down, fill limit, come back up, scalp out. Then it's like, okay, then I can drift up. Yeah, well, personally. But, so there's no limits running on this, unfortunately. Not to say you can't come on top of it and trade against the robot. So, if the robot's going long on stops, maybe, and it's going short on stops, but you're trading with limits manually underneath, is another way to approach it. So, you've got to see a buy limit grid, and the robot's hell bent on sell only. And so it's going up, but there's a kickback, and so your buy limits are set to say trade in a swing trade mode, and the sell stop part of the robot's running against you, putting in sells for the pullbacks, but it's really designed to get stopped out immediately. It's not looking for a swing target. It's just looking to scalp against you, say. So that's why people hire people to, beat the crap out of them, or they get a line producer for some show. Somebody that says, hey, what the fuck you doing? Because people that are trying to create shit, they're totally out of their fucking mind. They have to be babysat and handlers and all that nonsense. And then they spin out, right? Like this Kanye West, okay, but freedom of speech, right? So you say whatever you want. He's certainly got the platform now. Maximum zoom in here. So I go to the extreme mode. So let's go looking for some trouble. I'll start putting this in at. Go through the time frames, and of course, here we are in the robots, or the robots will be triggered as soon as we break out of the congestion that I'm not the only one sitting here building a 5-minute bot, I'm sure. And of course, once it breaks out, and there's also the trap bots. That's what I was trying to really want to do, is trap bot. So here we have different deltas now, all the same time frame. It's a completely different world. It's long only right now. I can either take profits, which would be like going short as soon as it's up a little bit, or I'll tell you what. Okay, so you just gotta hit buttons, and then the buy limit thing too. Okay, so here we go. 5-minute breakout. Look at how small the ATR is on this last 5-minute bar now. So let's see how each delta treats the same time frame. And so you're looking at one time frame and you're just saying, well, okay, this is the world according to pure volatility trading. Is it going to break down or is it going to break up? Now, if it breaks down and I'm wrong about how far it breaks down, then I'm screwed. So it will fill. It could be a trap fill right now. So it would have went short right now, possibly. And the only one that's trading is the scalp, because the delta is really tight on that. But the stop is tight. So if I wrote down the balance here, which you have to write this shit down, unfortunately, computers are bullshit. So, yeah, just pathetic. Of course, you need a pen for that too. But yeah, that's the thing. You have to have a pencil behind your ear to fucking. Only a real serious trader would have a chart, constantly with them. But yeah, you take a chart and draw on it, and you'll see real quick how ridiculous a profit of 50 pips looks like. This is a giant move. Rarely happens. So let's say at 825 on this thing, I'm at 825, and everybody's on the 5, and it's not trading enough for me. Let's go to the 1. So instead of having you could also have an ATR that when the ATRs get nasty, you'd have to go up another time frame. So maybe it's okay to have 2 guys on the 1 minute and these guys are on, say, the 5. But you can see that it's a bottomless pit of stuff. And how tight is this? Well, you'd have to figure that all out, right? You have to draw a line and figure out the amount of total risk, all that nonsense. But I think it's definitely something that, like I said, it's not, there's no such thing as building a robot that can accommodate. It's not, I just can't see it. It would be so complicated. You'd have to have like 40 EAs going. I mean, literally, that just the each one is optimized, and but now they're like fucking real people. I mean, you're like building things that are gonna think stuff. Yeah, so I could keep changing this to try to get it to trade for me here. Especially here comes the half hour. So go through all the time frames, force it to trade. I just want to see the I want to see if the size changes here. Okay, so here's the scalp, and we're down like $9. It's not good. Down like $9 on that. So I would be putting, and the thing is if it was selling and I was putting in buy limits. Okay, so go look at these time frames. So the zoom in on this would be the daily that went down and just made a lower low. Look at the new low there. About a 40 pip bounce there. Here's the 4 hour. See, this is where the robot gets crushed. This 4 hour trap was just this is why you cannot just trade one of these. Like, it gets caught in here, never makes profits. It starts putting in now based on the ATR, and it might have gotten filled here and trapped actually. So after so many bars down, here it definitely would have got trapped on the southern side, and no good. So the if you see a market that fits the overall ATR, like you're like, okay, I could trade the dollar Canadian is rising at 100 pips per day. I could run a delta of X on that. With that, you just have that, you have to do something about that and try to make that happen. This should not say this. It should say something else, like, oh, it's supposed to say that, but I guess this is a leftover order from before I changed it. Oh, it's one of these guys before I changed the sizing. So that has quite a wide stop to it, which is not good, because you're getting kind of hit. Whereas if you had this, say, a 1K over here, very dramatic 1K, 3K, 5, 7, 9, and but if you have 20 charts up here, and once the account got bigger, you could put another dumbass breakout bot on the crew, on the team, and have it run that scheme. But at least, you're not trading alone. You have somebody to blame. You could build a robot, and then you could, say, look at that fucking robot. I trade better than that. I mean, part of the reason of having a robot is to realize that you can, when it starts losing money, you're like, what the fuck? How'd you do that? Like, hell, I could see that pattern. I mean, on the screen, like, I could see that it was, like, really dead in the water. And I would say, let's not just buy in a stop like a moron. Let's put a buy limit below, because I think we're in the buy zone, and I want to pick up some parts of this. I want to get involved by putting a fishing line in the water. This isn't like you're trying to catch that famous whale, and you're just going to risk your, I guess, but this is what people have grown up on, right? The what's that story about that guy and the whale? And there was a British broker, the whale. So putting all your eggs in one basket like that is so, like, ridiculous. But they're still teaching that, and they're selling courses. People are buying that one. They're buying that story, because they say, oh yeah, that's it, that's the way to go, man. I mean, and just, you're kidding me, right? See, now the 1 minute looks like a great buy stop. Trailing buy stop is what I'd be running if I switch all of these with all the different sizings. Now the other thing is that you realize what this thing will do and when it'll do it, and you see the opportunity. Instead of pressing a button, you go, okay, let's go to this mode. If you're quick enough on the draw, or let's just say you have this running, and then you have another series of the 5 minutes. But if you know it's a 1 minute system, you're not going to have outlandish take profit areas. You're going to have really, kind of realistic So here we're putting in buy stops but no fill. We could be short right now on a short bot, but how much ATR would you give? How much ATR could we get out of the shorts right now? And when is this thing going to stop plunging? Is this just a market maker slam down that you want to get in on the top with buy stops? Or is this going to be, it's really going to go down now? So even this breakout, is this a fake out or is this a real breakout? It just came out of this small ATR 1 minute. So you got, I still got this fucking order left over from the other one. So it goes to show you that, and of course, that thing actually broke out on that 1 minute on this broker. That's how violent that pullback was. So there's a gap. There's a gap trade for you. Okay, taking some heat here. We're just down $10 now, getting smashed. So big pullback. Euro's on the edge of the abyss. Really, it goes down about 30 more pips. It'll start going into pretty much go to. You could just fall off the planet today. Actually, it's always well, we're very close to the borderline. I was talking about the possible depegging of the euro and slamming to like 80 cents, and gold. It's getting hammered. Look at gold. All these gold bugs are just crying the blues. Yeah, it's in a downtrend. You know, look at it on the weekly. I got dumbass moving averages up here. Even the moving averages say it's going down, right? Look at that poor see, this moving averages turned down. It's in the downtrend. Okay, big smash down here. So no fills. Stopped out at 8.05. Down $20. Waiting for it to get in on the long side. Everybody's got a different delta. This is the tightest delta just filled here at 10. This isn't right. This has got to be... so if you made this incrementally change, then it'll be a total order flow entry thing. See, this isn't even trying to, is not lighting up because the delta is so fucking far away. I don't know how long this will last before it deletes itself either. That's another question. A lot of questions, but yeah. I mean, so after this move, if it fills on these, and maybe you switch the time frame on this one now, but you got to be constantly on this thing. There's just no way you can. It's only a trading assistant. It's not. You can't have this thing. It's not an end-all, be-all. That's, you know, the idea that you have this EA that you wrote, this masterpiece. It's just not. It can't. It can only place one order and one stop, as far as I can tell. And even the ones that do place multiples out there, I don't know. I can't imagine. It's just unrealistic to think that you could. Now here is a bigger ATRs. You could have very extreme ATRs. You could have a 60 pip robot stop here running. Or you could have an account that does 60 pip stops, and all those robots on that platform, on that currency pair, are set to that ATR of that. And it'd probably fucking make money. You'd still have to say, we can't run this EA today. We gotta run the... but you can have all hotkey assigned. You can have, you know, like 40 hotkeys running, 72 hotkeys running. Every EA has an ATR for that pattern that shows up. Markets plunging, markets railing too high, The market's just up, 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 drift sideways. Throw in your stop. Throw in 10 stop bots, sell stop bots. Okay, I don't know if we kicked out these orders, deleted or something. Now I'm down. I just got filled on this one. So far I'm getting killed here. Now, it is trading from long side only, and I'll switch these to the 5. So maybe when 5 minutes is up, we could switch these to the 5. It's going to look at the 5 ATRs now. Probably going to take less trades, but it cleaned up on the breakout. Big hard breakouts, it makes quite a bit of money. And if it's sitting there and it just keeps on coming, bracketing the market as things constrict, then it is going to get some. So here's the first trigger here for the 5K on this screen. And I don't know if that's because I was on the 1 minute when that happened, but what is with people? Every time I hear a siren, I'm thinking, dude, just stay home. Just don't leave your house, you're a fucking idiot. You're staying home, you still got an ambulance coming, you got a problem. So a very tight stop here. This is the first time I'm getting filled on the scalp orientated buy stop. Let's see how he does on that. Commissions, I'm paying pretty hefty commissions there, but so that's another thing. People think they're getting some deal with the tight spread, but the commissions, you're underwater in real dollars. So it's just a psychological game. I mean, people look at this fact that the spread is tight, but you're charging commissions. It's like, okay, you're just making it look better on the chart for me, making me feel better, but there's shipping and handling on everything. There's no free lunch. There's no but this is almost about as free as it gets as far as, oh, you know what, let's test out this strategy. Let's test out this, I wouldn't say strategy, let's test out this risk. You're really building a risk profile or risk management. It's just dumb, boring shit. It's just risk management. And this has got a bigger delta, so this has got the delta 2, but no triggers there. So everybody's on the 1 minute, and it should be able to trade the 1 minute. And maybe this should have been out of this trade already, but what'll even pay for the commissions? I didn't put that in the numbers, so I'm not sure about that. But the commission's based on the size, so definitely when you bring the size down, you pay less commissions. Here's some pendings. This pending must be left over. No, that's the one from here. So I didn't rewrite that. Yeah, it's too big a delta. So you also, if you know that you want to tighten your delta up and you don't want to have all those pendings, you just want to get in what you see. So you're just kind of pruning this thing. It's like this monster. You're just trying to, like I said, it's like just a really dysfunctional employee. And if it drops another 20 pips, we should see buy stops come in. If it pulls back more, we should see more. But we got 3 pending, different sizes for once. Yeah, it's 802 is the amount of money here. Okay, it's like really it's just a buy only system here. Big monster pullback, and the still pulling back on this. See now the breakout of the 5 minute. See that now the sell side of that might have made money, and I could switch this to bi-directional. Once I think I got the sizing right to trade one direction and make money, then we could go total. Then I would say let's go totally but I want to see how it's viewing, because it's too confusing when it's like, I'm like, oh, it's long, it's short. I'm like, why is it doing that? Like, why is he sleeping now? Well, because he just ate. Now he's got to sleep. All right, so I'm at 8:02, and I'm getting ready to scalp out of this one. Okay, so this is where we're at so far. I set everything to 1 minute. I tightened up the delta on here on each of these so that the worst delta would be, say, on the left here at, well, I'm just going to make it, say, 80. And now I'll make the ATR longer, though. So here's a whole nother issue is ATR 5 on the 1 minute, increase 0, delta is 80. Is that a good scheme? And then, of course, if it's going to trade really small, it's only trading a half, I'm going to put a trailing stop of, say, 10, and I'll put an initial stop of 20, and I'm looking to make 40. And I'm going to call this 80 here, and at the very bottom I'm going to call it D80, and I could also call it D80, and then you probably put ATR. If every ATR is going to be 0, then you would just know ATR 5 this way we can see what, and that's going to run in a 1 minute, because it's looking at, it's going back, say, 5 bars. So in a way, okay, so now it's nothing. We're down below 800 now. So waiting for it to get a signal, get a fill on a buy stop. Okay, so that's it. Now I gotta wait till these guys fill, and we got a nice smattering of different sizes on the chopping block. The one just rewrote here, or you could write the time frame it's going to run on. You could pretty much in this comment say stuff like 60-minute charts, ATR of so and so. In other words, what's a daily ATR? You could create a whole code sentence here, and then you would know. So this is supposed to try to buy a breakout coming out of this 1 minute meltdown here. One last hissy fit on the euro here. So if the euro's consolidating here, and we just made a top become a bottom on the 1 hour, right now we broke out, we pulled back to the previous top, the internal pivot on the 1 hour euro dollar. So could we get a retracement here by the top of the hour, and would this thing be able to scalp it? And that would be the question I would ask. You're asking it to do a particular task. Okay, you're good at doing this, and then you know what? Get the fuck out of here. So if this thing could do this explosion up, now see, it got trapped. I got trapped on some. But how did it do dollar-wise? Okay, so I'm trapped. This one's trying to take profits. It's the biggest one. That makes sense. And so this is, I could just put this, upload this one to Hightail. This is just, like I said, it's really going to depend on what you want to do. It's like anything else. Just because you have an employee doesn't mean that they, maybe there's somebody that's doing a real dangerous task, and then the other guy's doing something where he's just sitting there thinking, and you're like, are you done yet? And so it's whole different, but you still need the big bruiser guy to lift the engines up and move them around, because, I mean, we don't care if he's on heroin, because this guy, look at, guy's moving shit around. None of us want to do that. And that would be a certainly consideration. And I'd have to watch this thing. If I was trading real money on this, I'd be like, damn, I got my finger on the trigger. In fact, the robot I had running on real money, and I was trading along with it, and I was like, what are you doing in this fucking trade? I had to take the, I mean, I was like, maybe you are right? But the problem was it kept trying to run a trailing stop. It kept trying to do weird stuff, and I was like, I never saw a trailing stop in my life. Like, it just got in my way, and then so I can't see the integration from people yelling at each other in a trading pit, and then you go to off-floor trading, and then you go to like let's just build a system that only trades a certain logic set and send it on its way and see what it can do. But yeah, the 1 minute is going to be okay. I see a buy signal in the 1 minute right now. So hopefully I'm in long enough right now. I would buy in the 1 minute right now. Got top becoming a bottom at the 10-yard line. I would definitely 105.60. So we've been at 105.80 something. That was the scalp out, and then you come back. Now I guess the only way to manage this I could see would be say, okay, this thing scalps out, then if it's bidirectional now, I'm just going to switch it to bidirectional now. I'm not going to go. Now I think I got the sizing good enough here. So hit F7 and switch these all over to. It'll go long or short. Doesn't care. And it'll probably get trapped now because I must say it definitely looks like we could go up about 20 pips here. So this trade's bidirectional now, and that's really supposed to be the power of it. It just doesn't care, it doesn't have a. So you kind of defeat the purpose in a way if you try to trade it, but it's not a perfect world, unfortunately. So it probably is going to get trapped here. It's not going to find the coffee machine. It's going to be stuck in the mail room, getting molested by the new employee. All right, here we are. So I would just delete all these balls off of here so I can kind of get a clue of what damage is being done. Okay, so now it's trading its ass off bidirectionally. It's just got filled on this 8, which is here, and probably because certainly the tighter deltas are going to fill more. I think that's a given. But yeah, I don't think I'd want to be trying to get run this many tickets manually. So it's bidirectional. I'm definitely not making money, but if you're going to tune this thing up, you're not playing it, right? If you're tuning your guitar, you're not playing it. You're tuning it up. You're not going to publish that. Because you could probably take Hendrix tuning up and publish it. Somebody has a bootleg of Hendrix tuning his guitar. I'm surprised people haven't jumped on that. Well, here's this guy just he says Hendrix doing his laundry. Check it out. How much is that going for? A real photograph of him with his real laundry. That's his laundry. Verified, certified. They carbon tested it. Okay, it's making money on the short side, I guess. I can't tell now. I'm just watching my balance get smashed. So when you trade bidirectional like this, different sizes, different ATR reasons. Okay, let's see what happens. Top of the hour is going to be brutal here. It always is. Top of the hour is a whiplash situation. Big retest of the 105.50. Okay, so we're just going to take it back again. Okay, well, I guess it's trying to scalp on that 9K. I'm just going to leave it on the 1 minute. Look at this sell making money here. It just took the opposite direction on that. Okay, here's 779. So at 779, I switched it to 42 779. We switched it over to this dual direction. $780 for a second. All right, so 1 minute, and I should be able to see the balls coming up, and here is the tighter buy stop or tighter sell naturally. Okay, so I'm just hanging on by a thread here. Okay, now I'm getting killed. I'm down $20 there. Making money on the short side though. Big smash down. Big short winner. Yeah, this looks like a big smackdown. So I'll let it go. I won't try to unless I really do think it's going to reverse. We're 2 pips below the 150 yard line. Okay. So 786. So it's up $6. And of course the big ones are going to scalp out. They should be scalping out about now. Definitely pays dividends on the okay, we're gonna scalp it to the upside now. So I'd be getting out. At this point I think I'd intervene on the robot's behalf. See, too late. I would have got out there, taken the $6 because this looks pretty brutal. Reversal. Bounce about 20 pips here maybe. But yeah, on the edge of the abyss, so it could keep going down there. It was maybe running a trailing stop at that point. You can actually see this, if you watch this, you can see the stops move and start trailing immediately. It keeps on doing a cancel replace. Okay, so possible reversal here to the upside. Still short. Robot's still right about the sell. And maybe just go straight down now. Blow out the whole day. Okay, 1 minute after the top of the hour. Possible reversal. It just went short again. Alright, so I had $6 I was up there when it was smashing down, and now it's still short. Probably about maybe 5 more pips down. A lot of volatility though. Okay, well, made something back there. Okay, now I'm looking at the chart. Looking 5 more pips maybe. And if it doesn't take the profits, I'm going to get out. 3 more pips down. Okay. Almost there. Oops. Well, I don't know. It didn't seem to... Yeah, it didn't let me out. I think I hit the wrong... But yeah, I was going to take it right there. And now it's set to go long. Which makes sense, I think. At least for a scalp. So that's another way to do it, I suppose, is to okay, sold again, and made money. Scalp out of that. You could just have your hand on the take profit key and just keep scalping it. Or you could probably close that manually if you think that robot's wrong. I just sold again. Look how it's up on that trade right away on that sell. It's amazing. And that little pullback, it's actually right on that move. That's hilarious. So if you basically got your hand on the exit key and the entrance key, same thing. So you're already in the trade. And I don't know how many buy stops I got stacking up to go the other way, though. I guess that's the right amount. See, I wouldn't go on that. Now I can see that we're going up. So maybe I'm going to come behind here and cancel out all the sell stops. It's just putting in orders that I would just normally put in if I thought, and then let it go up, and then it's going to put in reversal, say, and it's going to go the other way. So it's just like that. There's really no you have to still manage it, I'd say. So maybe you don't want to have any sells. You just want to have buy stops now. You just have to have your finger here and just be clicking these guys off, taking them off, That's all I can figure. We have different entry prices. Okay, now we're getting slammed to the downside. So it just got filled on sell stops. I think only. Super insane now. Super insane. Look at that. It's actually making money on that sell. I'm going to take off that sell. So if you were to scalp this, it would be a real two-handed process, I would figure. You'd be taking off, say, the order types here. You have one hand that's taking off the sells, one hand that's taking profits. If you don't want the robot to go, you don't want him to go the other direction on you. And then you're actually making a decision based on his decision. Instead of really the market, you're really making a decision on is that a good trade? Do you want to run any sell stops here? So it's trapped in a sell, but it's got 3 buy stops pending to offset it. Okay. 5 pips below the 50-yard line right now. Looking for a bounce. And of course, are these profits set? They're only set to say take a few pips off of each of these. See how far away those buy stops are. That's from the other. That was placed on this ATR of 5. Very far away. Big delta here of 100. So one of these might be set to 100. It's not at 100, it's 10 pips, but well, I'm not blowing the account up, but as you can see, ultimately, or the other way would be to put cells here, run these on a sell, run these on a buy, and then just say it looks like a sell on the so-and-so time frame, where it looks like a buy on this time frame. So if I inverted these, but then of course now you got size problems because you created this array to be size incremental. So maybe you have to put up 6 more charts beneath here that are going to do the other thing. And so it gets complicated real quick, and I just don't think it's possible to do it with the single trick pony. You just need all sorts of different 16 colors, you know. You need all these different variations because the market's just too damn dynamic. The market can go and trade sideways for 5 pips and then go up 500 pips. Well, go up 50 pips in 5 minutes, or sit at 5 minutes in a 5 pip range for 5 minutes. It's a 10 times. So the market can go 10 times faster than the speed of sound, so to speak. So if you're living in a world that's normally so-and-so, and then all of a sudden here, boom, the market just takes off ripping. Of course, on those cells there, that market went down, you know, it actually made money. So, on the violence of the move. So I guess let's leave these on the 1 minute, I suppose, to get the ultimate trigger. Now, if I don't want to sell, and I see that there's sells pending, I'll pluck these off. Just let the buys stack up. I guess the bond market's not going to open up in 9 minutes, but you know, it's a big deal in these markets when the bond market does move. It creates huge, this is the gold charts looking to find a double bottom. So here's the big hammer, big smash down. Still coming in, the dollar's still on fire. Stock market's still going up. Look, it's still going up. I put sell limits up here to capture the swing high up there. It's a British pound. Right at the 20 EMA, looking for a buy. Of course, this seems to be going counter of the euro lately. Here's the 5 minute. So here looks like a good pullback. Top becomes a bottom with a 20 EMA, right? That's your classic setup. Doesn't get any better than that. Well, we've all seen that. It doesn't happen very often. It kind of happened here. You got a head and shoulders, an uptrend. It's all well and good until you buy up here, you know, on that last. Well, I got its uptrend, but it's just totally baked on momentum to the upside. It's just over momentumized. Okay, looks like a big scalporama now. And here's the I made a comment on this guy's video. He's like, well, you put this this is $CAD. He says, well, you know, you put this thing on here, it's like this. This is 618 Club down here, and I said, well, you know, how about you just put your order right here? So, you know, it's in an uptrend. Let's put our order here, because manually speaking, let's put a buy limit right there and get in. And if the stop was too tight, of course, you got knocked out, but you have a buy limit here. This is actually the better entry, is this little itty bitty nick and then run. Same thing on the top side. All your sell limit pendings are here on the tops of these wicks, and you may not get filled on all of them, but you can see the cluster. And even watching this robot trade, you realize that given the right parameters, anything can work. But yeah, is this thing in a down channel on the Canadian dollar? Well, geez, I don't fucking know. Who cares? I mean, if you just scalp this thing here, you're a genius. I mean, this is 4 hour right here. You got a buy limit pending here. You're up on the trade. You love it, right? I said to the guy, well, where do the trend traders, the trend's up, right? Where do they have their stops? Well, they got them right here. That's where your buy limits are. If you're a trend continuation trader, that's where you're buying. If you're a counter trend trader, you're selling up here on these things. Right here, you sold here. You sold here. You're up on the trade, counter trend wick entry. And here is the breakout bot is getting in on these. So if you had the breakout bot here, but you also had, say, you know, limits, hand placed orders on some stuff. Okay, so back to the clock. Here we are. It's the 1 minute bot's been left on its own. It's losing money. It's selling into this thing. So I wasn't managing the sell stops, or I wouldn't want to let it take those trades necessarily. Those don't look like the best trades. In 5 minutes, it's too late. Let's just get rid of the sell stops. So just leave the buy stops on there. You'd have to just go by type and sit there and just keep clearing off those bad orders. So you're having to clean up after. It's like an employee that you have to clean up after, right? They do a bunch of stuff and then they leave a complete fucking mess. Alright, so there's nothing to do here but I guess wait. I can't say it's a completely scientific experiment if I'm going to start deleting orders and you know, waiting for the thing to so it's very short here, and this is 9, and if all these other ones are smaller, so if I see this come in at a small amount, I'm like, yeah, well, you could also set the whole thing to 1Ks, and then it can really not make a ton of money, not lose a ton of money. Certainly you'd be able to say, hey, you know, it's real money. Okay, looks like could go up, take off this, let it get stopped out of this. Okay, big smash up, possibly coming, and I don't even know if the bonds are trading, but maybe like I said, the 5 minute robots are all over this thing now. I could go to the 5 minute, see if I get a trigger for anything to try to fill. I don't even know if it cancels out anything. I don't know if it activates it to change the time frame, but You could duplicate this whole array on another bank down there and just run 5 minute, 1 minute. You probably want to use a different scheme on those. So there you are. It's getting its ass kicked, and that's just how it is because you know, it doesn't have the limit strategy in there. There's no chance for it to do the opposing point of view. It really needs to have an offset. Okay, so it just got filled on that. And I guess it got stopped out. I didn't even see it. Happened so fast. It was hit. It was smashed. It was filled and killed, I guess. I guess I blew through my stop on that. Spiked down about 5 pips. So it was enough to kill the big trade, which is this one. So it got kicked out of this big one, and that's why you lose money. So it's not a secret why it's losing money. But if you are trading this strategy and you think it works, if you think Gartley's work, build a Gartley bot and just see how fucked up that system is. So at least you can see here what it's thinking. I mean, if you built a Gartley bot and you faded it, you traded against it, you'd be like, well, you know, Jesus Christ. Of course, how often does that thing fill? I mean, these people got like, I guess on 1 minute chart, you might fill. But I mean, you got a Gartley that's 5-year Gartley. Look at this thing. Really? Okay. Well, I'm almost dead. Can we get into a trade? Because there's something we can do today other than just. But these people they're not traders. They're analysts. You know, there's a balance point between being an analyst and a trader. Just jumping in the fucking market and not sitting there looking at a 20 EMA. You just have a feeling. You're like, yeah, I think that's done going up. Like it's such a fast move, or it's such a fast plunge, or it's just too, you know, I mean, just the numbers, you know, alone. And if you have a buy limit at 104 right now, that's 100 pips deep on a limit order, they may not fill. What are you going to do in the meantime? What can you possibly do in the meantime to make money waiting for a fill on some outlandish completion of some thingamabob? That's all I'm saying. Why would you want to have this grandiose delusions of grandeur that oh well, you know, I just back tested that yeah, the 618's not so good, but the 2618, yeah, that's the ticket. It's just, you got to be kidding, right? And if you don't believe it, just try to build a robot, because that also is very, you're saying, well, I have a high probability outcome. Well, of course, nobody would trade with thinking that they were going to lose. Like I said, unless you just like losing, like the feeling, like the excitement of just being at risk, that's different, right? But if you're honestly trying to make money, then you know, you're gonna look at the math aspect. You're not gonna look at the pretty pictures. You're gonna look at the bottom line, and you're gonna just say, like, if you ever had an accountant say to you, my accountant told me once, he said, well, you know, it looks like you have a hobby, not a business. I'm like, yeah, well, you know, I'm not making all the money in the world, but so that's the going joke, right? Is it a hobby or is it a business? Now, if it's a hobby, and people have hobbies like stamp collecting when they lost their ass back in the day. So that's could just be a hobby. But you know, saying that you sent people to prop houses after or maybe because they were able to make 5%. I guess this is the big deal. If you can make 5%, you're just killing it, you know. But I think if you swing trade it, or the concept is reversal trading, swing trade it, and you also breakout trade it, that you'll make twice as much. You make 10%, because hey, making 5% from this stupid ass idea and this 5% from that dumbass idea. And when it's all said and done, overall you're making money. So at 8:30, I don't know if there's any news coming out. There's big Canadian news coming out at bottom of the hour, so that should affect the dollar. It should affect everything, I suppose. And then there's going to be this news here, and then the government member Zuberberg, whatever this guy's name is. Well, these people that kind of come out with news at 6 p.m. probably going to rock the shit out of it. So you could have a breakout bot running on the 1 minute. Turn him on just before the news event here. See how he does. Of course, the spreads are going to be, look at the Delta is going to just crush a breakout bot during the news. Okay, looks like we're going to break out north side on the euro here. So I'd put buy stops in right now manually. Let's see what the clever bot's doing. Okay, I'm going to get rid of these sell stops and let it go pure buy. It's going to try to put in sells, but I'm only going to let those come in when the market is climaxing up, and then I would say, I didn't seem to delete that one. It's in the process of deleting it or something. Maybe maybe it's stopped out. It's already out or something. I don't know. Too tight. So this delta and the take profit, that's got to be set to some number that makes sense for that currency. So maybe you want 5 pips as your tightest stop, and then you would actually go 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 pips stop by the time you get to the 10th chart that you're on. That's another way to go. Everybody's on the 1 minute right now. And the ATRs, you can see if you set a longer ATR that this ledge that's forming above, we got a big resistance point above, and we got a wedge, a rising wedge here on here, and we've got this big resistance point up on top, right? That's, I mean, a child can see this is getting tighter and tighter, and it's like, you know, very much an apex, a triangle. So I'll let the sell bot come in here. It's got this 5 period ATR on this is coming from the 1 minute chart, so it's looking at this stacking up here, so it might go short there. So you see the pattern, and then you see what the robot's, how it's dealing with that pattern, and you're just assisting, you know, you're just kind of a trading assistant, really, an expert advisor, you know. I mean, it's advising you. It's not, these things are not, they cannot solely make money, because you're going to be able to look at them, assess the market and say, oh my god, really, like, this looks like a place to get in here, or maybe not right here at this moment, but a retest area covered with buy limits is going to do better than you know, it's if you're always trading at the market, then you're saying, I have to be there and just totally nail this trade. So I let it take that sell. I don't know if it made any money for me, but I let it take that sell because I'm like, yeah, that looks like it's going to break out. Now we get rid of the sells and let it go long. So we trend line break. Is this a real breakout? Now we're going to go after the lows of the week right off this 1 minute chart, and it has happened. So this is the thing about a 1 minute chart, is that it has the capability of doing that. If you look back here, this run here, 1 minute chart, mind you, look at this, never looks back. this is where it's ATR, the proper ATR is going to come in handy. Then nice blast. Here it's getting its ass kicked though. Anytime you see this, you can pretty much figure that your stop bot's getting crushed. It's gonna love a, it's gonna love a move like that. Clean break on a 1 minute chart. It's gonna love it. Here, it made, if it had wide enough to take profits in the end, it might have made money. So that's the problem I see, is that it is so conditional. And but see, you have a, if you have a buy limit grid here, you have orders here, 3 buy limits, and the stop bot's making money, kind of making money on the way down to this, then you could possibly have the best of both worlds. You've got a buy limit here that you hand placed, and the stop bot made money on here. He kind of got, he might have actually made money on this last breakout into your limit order. You got a buy limit here that never got filled, but it got filled here. Maybe made money there. And the breakout bot looks like a genius on this because it just broke out and it just kept on going down and down and down and down. And that's, you can just see the performance would be amazing here and it would be awful here. This would be on a 1 minute basis, or just any bar. A 3 bar breakout. Just call it a 3 bar breakout, which ATR sets is set at those amounts, and your target has to be in line with the overall ATR. So if the ATR is like this for the whole day, then yeah, these moves are possible. You know, 20% of that move, 40%, you know, even 61.8 or whatever it is. The golden ratio. I was looking for the gold in the golden ratio one day, and I'm like, God, there's no gold in this thing. And then I looked at these bricks, these gold bricks, and I said, do you think those kilo bricks are in the golden ratio format? I don't think they are. So there's no gold in the golden ratio. So it's a genius here. Should I get out? Now I got rid of the sell. I'm pull the sell stops off until I think the market's climaxed. And look at this late entry. It's got a pending to get in way the hell up here. Well, that sucks. So I'd take that off. So I'm in as many as I want to be in, and I'll let it go. I let it go short. So I don't think it's possible to let this thing go unattended. I wouldn't let. You just can't leave the kids home alone, you know, at a certain age. And this is like having a 5-year-old trade for you, I suppose. Don't spill any. Don't put any. You know, don't make coffee on top of the keyboard. Just simple rules, you know. No liquids on the keyboard. So, say if I was to scalp out about right, I give it. So here's the news is out of Canada now. We can get a backlash here. I got sell stops pending right now, in case there is a reversal of fortune. So give it 1 more minute, and I get about 30 seconds. Get out of these winners. I got to pop up at least 5 more pips, and then I would get out. But I'm also closing all profits. You could take off the bigger positions. A million ways to approach it, I'm sure. Okay, so I'm just going to bail on that. And I'm going to let this go into a completely symmetrical kind of situation. Okay, I didn't have the patience to wait for that to go up. But this is the only way I can see conceivably doing this. Thank God I bought with scripts on the other brokers, but yeah, I just didn't have the patience to watch that drama play out. I want to see what happens, how it fills on these cells. So it's 769. Okay, so it bought a trend continuation trade here. If you think this is the beginning of the big kind of retracement or recovery from only about 800 pips down on the euro, with one bounce day in there. So 1 minute chart is certainly the testing ground for this thing, because you can just get a lot done quickly that you can't do in a strategy tester, and you can test out the theory on the fly. See the trend continuation trade. It's making money. But I mean, seriously, look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's down 1,000 pips in 1 month, top to bottom. Top to bottom. And maybe it's over trading. You just have to wait for it to play out. I definitely wouldn't be short here, but I'm gonna let it go. Looks like we get another, we could actually go slamming to 106, or where the floor was taken out on the 4-hour chart, which is where the sellers came in at 105.80. That's painfully obvious territory, right? Look at the here. Yikes. Gosh, I just deleted objects, right? Yeah. Look at this. This is, look at the 4-hour. So here's the floor on the 4-hour. Gee, the sellers came in at this wick. I can't imagine why. This is just stupid stuff. Look at it. Really? You mean that's resistance now? Yeah, that's how that works. Alrighty then. Looks like possible upward follow through now. This one should take the balance up possibly. Don't think I'd want, looking at the 1 minute chart, I don't want to get trapped in a sell. I'm looking at 1 minute right now, it looks kind of scary, like they're just going to go smashing up now about 15 pips. Will take us to 105.60 first target, which is the high from 5 minutes ago. So the news, and I have another one that I was trying to test out, which was this trend system. And now look at this. Let's try to trade. This is a trend bot. Start with 10 grand. So you're at 706 right now. Oh, this is still running the same thing, stop out. This is the original configuration here of kind of high risk. But this is the CAD and the Australian on top. If I make these all 1 minute charts, I think I have different EAs in each one. Let's see what it does here now. It's going to get trashed a lot, because if the stops are too tight on this CAD, it's going to be brutal. I think here I was doing all up to 30 minutes. Very tight. This is a 1, 2, 3 moving average. So I was trying to build a trend bot that just gets in right at the switch, right when it just, I mean, literally it just turns over. Yeah. So
706, 84. Yeah, I mean, in that perfect world, in a dream scenario, this robot's sitting there just sifting money all day long like a bank robber. And continually, on the lookout for your best interest in him. Okay, everybody's in 1 minute. Possible 5 to 15 pips on the run up to the upside. That's so it takes a very long time to but I would say the big benefit of this is to just see how you have to. You can't rely on one method, and you'd have to still look at a chart and say, this looks like a place to put an order, and take advantage of what is right in front of you. Okay, let's try to sell. Not so. So this good sell could work out. It's good pulling back a little bit. So if I'm up on the sell, I could get out. Check that, scope that. Maybe trade every 5 minutes. But that would be the same under normal circumstances. Even if you're manually trading this thing, you're still going to have to make that decision of whether or not that moves over, next move. At least this is getting you in and out. And all you have to do is decide if the thing's right. Okay, let's see if I can cash out of this sell if it makes anything. So it trapped the sell bot here with a small delta. You can see it on the chart. So it pulls back 3 pips. Take the sell off. Yeah, the magnitude of these moves is just the thing, How much is the market going to bang around? And is it going to make these spectacularly perfect runs that fit? And maybe they do when you have to track down the time of day that some of those clean runs and when the chart appear. And maybe a little bit when it comes on during that session. That'd be a completely decent way to do it. Logical at least. Okay, big pullback here. Okay, stop bots. So now the stops are on. Buy stops. So I'm going to
sell stops, let the buy stops come in. So if this is just a pullback in an uptrend, it's 1 minute chart. So if you think the 5 minute trend's up, you're going to try to jump on the 1 minute train on a stop entry. Or you think the 15 minutes in an uptrend, but 15 minutes looks like it's still choppy waters. So I'm looking at choppy. 15 minute is actually the sellers came in because we reached the floor of the we're underneath this if you look at this 15, that's where it fell out of bed. It's coming back to where it fell out here. So naturally the sellers are going to come in at this floor, and they backed off of that price. So you could also be placing the painfully obvious, like here's the buy limit entry, right? You're looking for where people put their stops, and you put a buy limit here, and you're up on that trade. And you've got the mechanical guy's trading behind you, so he's trading around you, and okay, big rally here. I don't want to get trapped in a sell. Now, can this thing crush through? Should I scalp out? So let's imagine I'm scalping, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm just about there. I'm going to give it like 30 more seconds, and of course canceling these too, because you don't want to get overfilled. Okay, this is that 15 pip run. Now we just say got like 2 pips left to go up, and no, didn't get it. So I don't want to get trapped on these. So that's how hard it is, because you really, and this is trading pretty big actually. I mean, it's in 22K or something. I don't know what the hell it's in here. Yeah, it's like 24K or something. That says. Okay. So you got to get some follow through here without getting stopped out. Naturally, if your stop's too tight, then... But see, this would... If you looked at this in the 15, you'd say, well, why can't I just trade that? You'd have to have the stop here, take profits there, and you're already out of the trade. Okay, I'm looking at 1 minute for follow through here. I think I just keep the sell stops away until this thing goes up another 8 pips. And then I would dump out if it goes up another 8 pips here. Okay, getting close to my exit. Okay, so I'm out. Now I want to close all pendings. So you either have a hotkey that says take all buy stops off. Okay, so I just got out. So I scalped that. So I don't know, what did I make there? $70, right? So, you know, I had to babysit that thing. Sure, it was assisting me. It was putting the orders in for me. But God's sakes, man. Now it might start hunting down other tickets, and maybe at this point you back off to the 15-minute breakouts. I don't even know. Certainly, if we go to the 15 minutes on everything, say you're up on the account for the day. Everybody's on the 15, and let's see how it assesses the 15, right? But maybe it's going to get killed on the 15. Maybe it's a 1 minute, maybe you're a 1 minute trader. You can see an opportunity on the 1 minute chart. You know what it looks like. So I think that's the trick, is knowing what time frame you want it to trade for you. Okay. So it's possible. Let's see how this guy's doing. Oh, this is this guy. Let's go back to this one that's written really kind of a losing proposition. Oh no, I didn't make $70. I don't know what I made on the other one. I thought I wrote down this number, this balance. This one is trading. God, what is this? Hell, I don't even know. I just made back what I lost. I think I was down to made like $30 or something. So let's clear these off, see who fills. I'll go back to 1 minute here, 5 minute, 15, 30, 1 hour, 4 hour. Having a hotkey to close all open and pendings, having a key that takes off a particular style of order, delete all buy stops, delete all sell stops, all that kind of crazy stuff. And then I think you could probably do it where you know what this thing's going to do. He's coming in, he's throwing in orders, and you're like getting out, and you're saying this, and you're going flat, and you're saying maybe you have a stop all robots key. A cease and desist order. Something like that. There's got to be a way to do it. A way to make it a little bit easier to trade. Okay, so it's time to go. It's time to go out and play with the. Go out and run with scissors. Okay, so if I want to get flat here, take that 50 cent, and God knows what's going to happen to this account. But yeah, that 1,000 pip range on the monthly euro dollar, pretty fucking insane. Not the first time, and not the last. I see back here a few monthly bars of 1,200 pips down. But they took this all the way to the abyss, and it could go through the floor still. But so far, this thing is surviving the. So here I got a bunch of on the 1 minute, the 15, and a different time frame. I got 2 pendings here and 2 on this screen. I think is 6K here. Half hour. Just spit out a possible trade. It's advising me. I'm being advised to place orders. The TrendBot does have a nice feature. It's got an alarm, so top of the hour, I think does the math and apparently gets a signal every hour. But I haven't got that thing tuned up. I still had to build a template so I could figure out what it was thinking. And it's hard to, at a glance, figure out what a robot would do in a certain circumstance. You really have to run it. And I'd say the 1 minute chart, is, even though the spread's going to beat you up and so is commissions, at least you can see what its potential is on, say, the 5 minute chart, and maybe it would be a viable 5 minute bot, and a 5 minute bot that only comes on for a limited time window. So if it starts just before London, it comes on and starts trading. It trades through the London to the US session, then it's done trading for the day. It might do okay. And of course, you'd still have to figure that, well, the ATRs are 50 pips now instead of 20 on that instrument. Well, you got a problem. You got to have a whole array of these robots that can take advantage of that on the 5 minute chart. So the 5 minute ATRs, this is why you'd have to have real people running a series of bots in a room and saying, okay, let's go to the 20 minute breakout bots for the next 4 hours on the 15 minute chart based on the last known price spike. And then you could do what I was doing on the 1 minute chart, which is, sitting there and letting this thing do what it can do given the right size and the right stop width. And is it going to run a trailing stop? Is it going to try to manage and then get kicked out of maybe a potentially good trade? Do you want to turn off your trailing stops? Do you want to let things static play out? If you do back testing, you see a trailing stop. When the strategy tester would make money because it's going to skim something out. But in the real world, if you're trading it and you're like, well, I'm just going to get out. But it's a psychological thing. Some people want a trailing stop because they like that feeling of the security of, like, I'm managing my risk. Like I just got stopped on thing. And I don't know if it's trailing yet. I think it has to go in profits first. Anyways, that's all I got. Here's the Delta. It's kind of a Delta test. Different stops, different sizes, different colors, different. It's LBGQ EFT trading, pretty much.